How can we design a wood serving tray that's simple to fabricate and assemble? Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Tim. I'm an architect based in New York, and on this channel, we explore the design process, mindset, and life of an architect. Today, we'll be designing and making a simple serving tray made with a Glowforge laser cutter. I sketched my rough idea of each component and how they would come together. To keep this project as simple as possible, I decided to cut out linear slots in the serving tray and design the handles so that they could pass through the longest slot and be joined with the surface by tabbing finger joints into two smaller slots. With the sketches complete, I set up my laptop and began designing the serving tray in a software called Rhinoceros. Starting in the top view, I used the polyline feature by typing polyline into the command bar, drawing the width of the tray at 18.5 inches, the side at 8 3/4 inches, and complete the rectangle. I don't like products with sharp corners, so I draw a circle with a 1/4 inch radius, use the move command to snap it to the corners of the tray, and use the trim command to trim the 90-degree corner. I repeat the trim command and cut off the full circle so that only an arc remains. I use the mirror command, left-click on the center of the line, move the mouse cursor vertically, and left-click again to mirror the arc to the other corners. I repeat this until I have the arc in all corners of the rectangle. With the serving tray's perimeter designed, I draw a vertical line at one of the shorter edges and move it inward to find a good spot for the handles. The idea is to have a larger space at the center for objects, but to make sure that the span isn't too far where the tray would bend or deform from the weight of objects. I felt comfortable with the handle space 2 inches from the shorter sides. To make space for the handle to be installed and also for the finger joints to tab into the slots of the tray, I offset the line so that a 1/4 inch piece of plywood could fit. The actual thickness of 1/4 inch plywood is typically 0.22 inches, so I made the slots exactly 0.22 and oversized the longer slot where the handles would pass through to 0.25 inches. Using the trim command, I cut off the excessive lines until I was left with the larger center cutout and 2 slots. Using the join command, I select every line in the project and join them together. Moving to the handle design, I copy the cutouts from the tray and rotate it 90 degrees to use as a reference. I add a 1/2 inch of space on both ends of the smaller slots and draw the base of the handle at 1.5 inches. The idea is that the base of the handles would hold the tray slightly off of a countertop, and the depth would add additional support to the overall construction. For the actual handle design, I started with the idea that I had in mind of a curved shape that was hollow at the center. I drew a circle, offset it by 3/4 inch, and decided that the shape didn't fit the idea that I had in mind. Instead of a circular form, I decided to go with a rectilinear one with rounded corners to match the corners of the serving tray. This would tie the entire design together. Although the designs might look good in this 2-dimensional line form, I like taking an extra step to visualize what it would look like in 3D. Using the extrude command, I pull each shape into a 3D form that's 0.22 inches thick to match the actual thickness of the plywood. Using the rotate command, I turn the handles 90 degrees so they're upright and rotate them 90 degrees so that they're in the proper orientation. Using the move command, I snap a point at the corner of one tab into its place on the serving tray. I repeat this with the other handle, apply a wood texture, switch the view to rendered, and look at the final product. After analyzing the 3D model, I had another idea in mind to make this tray unique. I have a subscription to a service called Envato, which is full of content including vector designs for illustrations like this one of New York City, which is my hometown. I'll download this file and score it onto the surface of the tray to add a unique finish to it. With the design complete, I gather the materials I need for the project, including a beautiful 1/4 inch walnut plywood, paper masking tape, wood glue, a rubber hammer, and my Glowforge laser cutter. Using Glowforge's interface and onboard camera, I load my design files and the illustration of New York City. I set all the tray-related components to cut and slightly adjust the score settings for the illustration to make it darker. I didn't use the engrave feature because it adds a lot of time to the project. I load the walnut plywood into my Glowforge and begin the process of cutting every component. Even though I've done this hundreds of times, I'm always amazed by the technology of a laser cutter. It's mesmerizing to watch as the laser burns through the material with precision to cut the exact shapes and sizes that we designed. I've been fascinated by laser cutters since my time in architecture school, where I used to design, cut, and make miniature models of my projects. At that time, I was struggling to pay for my education and trying to make it through school, so I never thought that I'd be able to own one and use it whenever I had an idea. Now, almost a decade later, I'm at a different point in my life where I could afford to buy a laser cutter like this one, apply my design skills as an architect, and create custom projects to share with you here on my YouTube channel. I'm grateful for people like you who are inspired by my work, leave comments, and support me here on my channel. If you're interested in getting a Glowforge, I'll share a link in the description of this video where you can get up to $500 off of a Glowforge Pro. With the components cut and engraved, I start the assembly process by removing the paper masking tape from the plywood. If you're new to laser cutting, this protects the wood from burns and debris during the cutting process, but you need to make sure it's adhered tightly to the material so it doesn't catch on fire. I apply wood glue to the areas of the handle that will touch the bottom of the serving tray. To clean up any excess glue, I usually have a damp towel nearby so I could quickly wipe it off of the surface of the wood. After aligning the handle and pushing it through the slot in the tray, I align the tabs through the slots and use my rubber mallet to join the handle and tray. The handles are symmetrical, so I don't need to worry about proper orientation. With the assembly complete, I like applying a natural oil finish to my wood products. I use either Odie's oil, which is a premium finish, or a simple oil like this cutting board oil. It gives the wood a beautiful finish while providing some protection for the wood surface. Once the oil dries, I place all the smaller miscellaneous things from my kitchen onto the serving tray and easily transport them to my dining table for a good meal. Like any good product, this project is simple, functional, and beautiful. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love this custom playlist that I've made for you that has my laser cut projects. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.